Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, February 13th, 2025. Now, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and I just thought I'd put that out there in case you participate in the holiday. I know it's commercialized, but it is an opportunity to tell those you love that you love them. So if you haven't made plans to do that, please do so. Okay, let's get into the heart of the matter here. And the heart of the matter is that earlier today, Donald Trump signed an executive order that reversed the ban on plastic straws that the Biden regime had imposed on the American people. And there's been a lot of speculation in the alt media community that there's more going on here than just plastic versus paper straws. I mean, the ludicrousness of the straws was that once the paper was mandated, they often came in plastic wrappers. So the net benefit was pretty well voided out with that. I'm going to take you to a few things I reposted on the X platform about the straws, and then we're going to do a read and see if, as alt media chatter is suggesting, there's really some hints going on here, hidden communications from President Trump that something called our strawman accounts are being addressed. So we'll find out what the universe wants us to know about that. First, though, I'll take you to those three posts. And I'll explain as I go why I chose those three. Okay. Now, the first one I chose to repost was from Pim and Ellen, and the reason I did was they had some information about a possible gematria connection to the straws and the executive order. So I thought if you're interested in gematria and connections, there's a little for you there. Now here I just included this one because this guy, when he's signing this executive order and speaking about, look, he can't keep it. He can't keep a straight face, which suggests to me that maybe it is all just about plastic straws and undoing some ridiculous mandates. President Trump is for necessary regulations only. So he's downsizing government and regulation. So that's a possibility. Now, the one that's really informative is here from Whiplash 347. And he says in his post, Trump is getting rid of our straw man that we were given at birth with our birth certificates. We're no longer a commodity to be bought and sold. This frees us from maritime law. And if that doesn't make total sense to you, there were some really intelligence comments that were added to this post that will explain that. There is a 9-minute video you can watch that explains the strawman accounts. So if it's a new concept for you or one you haven't dived into too deeply yet, you can get some information in the comments on this third post. So again, I just went with some gematria that I didn't see in the third post I thought might interest you. I was tickled by this guy that couldn't keep a straight face. And so that's the only reason that one's there. And then this one had some real informative meat for you. Okay, so if you want to, I will have a link to those three posts in the video description box for this video. Now, here's what I want to do. I just want to ask, was hidden communications part of what was being conveyed when this executive order reinstating the legality of plastic straws was done? So was there hidden communications going on there? Because, that's going to be a big part of having a big financial reset, and doing away with maritime law is having that end, having the us, we being humans, being commodities that are part of a bankrupt corporation. So I want to know, and then other insights and information. I'm going to switch the camera. You can watch me work with the cards, and we'll find out together what the universe wants us to know. Now, just in case there's any veiling or obscuring of this information going on, I'm going to ask that it be free of any veiling or obscuring, that it be very clear and easy to understand, and as clear as it would have been before any veiling or obscuring of the information might have happened. So let's see what the universe wants us to know. I'll switch the camera and we'll get going on that. So earlier today, President Trump signed an executive order that once again made the use and distribution of plastic straws if consumers want them legal. We are asking if there was hidden meaning to that. Was it a calm indication to us that our strawman accounts are being addressed and um, plus other insights and information? So we do have a yes or no element to this question. And as always, when I can layer that in, we'll just leave it open for additional insights and information. I'm sure to the normies, it was just kind of a ridiculous piece of legislation. To those of us in the alt media community or alt media consumers, it seemed pretty hopeful. So there is a lot of hope going on with this. We have the Queen of Cups for our first card, Knight of Pentacles, the Chariot. It's looking good, guys. The Eight of Swords, the Five of Wands, the Fool, Judgment. Okay, out of 7 cards, we have 3 of them that are major arcanas. Okay, more than the statistical average. I try to point that out to you when I notice that. I'm going to move these cards up a little bit. I'm not going to change your placement in the read. I'd just like them to all be as much as possible part of the camera view. Okay, so there you can see the majority of them. All right, so let's take a look at this. First of all, we don't have a hard yes here, and my aces are my hard yes, but there's other cards that can convey information, and boy, did these cards do that. So intuitively, what I'm getting is, yeah, it was a communication, and it was one that it's letting us know that there is change happening. It's actually happened, and they're very happy about it. The Chariot card is often a victory card. So it looks like we're getting ready for some announcements. There's still a little pushing and shoving going on about it. But it is a time to do away with things that do not serve the best possible outcome for the human race. So that's what I'm getting intuitively. Now, the elements of the card, beyond the ones I already pointed out to you. Queen of Cups. She is always discerning. She has a strong sense of intuition and just advises us to use our emotional intelligence. Do you feel like things are changing? Are you feeling some energy shifts? Trust that discernment, okay? If you think that there may be more to something, believe that it is. Don't wait for me to confirm it for you. Okay, Knight of Pentacles. Very, now, he's not a fast-moving card, but he tends to talk about military actions, and it's well thought out campaigns that are faultless, that have been well thought out. And we've been told that that's part of the reason for the pacing of what has happened with the 17 team and going from dark to light was getting it right. And, you know, if we're going to complain that it took them 50 years to undo thousands of years of slavery and uh, subjugation, I think we're pretty silly to do that. Yes, I'd like to see some things resolve in my lifetime and see the benefit of it, but I'm just happy that I've been part of the process. And but I still hope to see some change, like I said, within this incarnation. Absolutely. The Chariot is a card when there's moves going on, and we're talking about moving away from maritime law and moving into common law or law of the land, as we should have been all along before we were sold down the river in 1871. Moves are happening, and since this is in the position of the past, it's saying, you know, it's kind of a done deal. Okay. The now we still feel like we're having to wait. This card talks about waiting. If you notice, though, it's always a waiting that's there's a reason for it. Number one, and number two, it's kind of willingly done. Because if you look at this card, the bindings are loose and she could easily move away from them. Our sword suit is words, written and spoken, as well as thoughts. And since we're talking about contractual legal matters, that's why I'm glad to see the sword suit show up here for the current. Now let's look at the near future. That's where it gets really interesting. First of all, it's not going to be long lasting. But there is some little pushing and shoving still going on about when to make the announcements, the um, the pacing and the changes that are happening, but they're happening fast, guys. We're past the drip drip stage. We're definitely well into the trickle trickle stage and looking for the flood. Okay. And the Fool says it's coming. We're going to be on that new path in the near future. Absolutely. The Fool is talking about new paths. So we got victory and new paths. And here, judgment is where you face some consequences for your action. You reflect and on what choices that you've had. And judgment is coming. Now, judgment and justice. In a political read, there's not a very vast difference in those two, whereas in a personal read, it might be very, very different. But with the judgment card, it's just saying, yeah, there is some accounting going on. People are being held responsible for their actions or inactions, and that's ongoing too, and will continue in the near future. Let's get a few more cards. These will be for near future, and they're less insightful than these two major arcanas that showed up first. We have our hard yes with the Ace of Pentacles showing up. And since the Strawman account talked about us as a commodity, which was a tangible asset, it's very appropriate that the ace that showed up was the Pentacle suit, because Pentacles are tangible assets, which unfortunately was humans. Okay, then we have the Three of Wands, Seven of Cups, and another ace with the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords often talks about a new beginning. We've got the new beginning here, and after a painful ending. And this doing away with the dark has been painful. There's been casualties. There's been heartache. We've watched loved ones that should have had access to technologies and healing, had to wait. We've lived with imposed poverty and excessive taxes. So yeah, we've had the pain, but good things are coming here. In fact, they're going to include a lot of choices people will have. Again, the choice to know will be yours. The extent you wake up is going to be yours. Some people will choose not to. Absolutely. And then the nod here to the new path that our world is going on. I'm not seeing that this is necessarily talking about some kind of big reality shift, but just simply that new path, moving on, new things coming with lots of choices, and an end of maritime law being imposed on good humans. Let's recap. Alt media was chattering away today about this executive order that President Trump signed that stopped the ban on plastic straws should consumers choose to use them or want them. And it's a possibility that it was no more than that, but alt media was hopeful that it was actually referencing and a calm for us, a communication about the strawman accounts, which need to be addressed and done away with as we leave maritime law and bonded servitude behind and truly become the sovereign beings that, our Creator intended us to be. So we asked, was there communication going on with this? And additional insights and information. We got some interesting information. I'm not going to show you every card, but I am going to just show you that in the recent past, it's kind of saying, as we've often heard, a lot of this is just being rolled out now, but it's a done deal. The move has already happened. Absolutely. That was our recent past card. Near future card, strongest insight card was the Fool, which is nothing about being a fool, but about stepping out on a new path in a new way and a journey that's taken. And the Chariot often shows up besides being a victory card. It talks about when there's a move being made. Okay. The Judgment card showed up also in the near future. And in political reads, as I mentioned, a judgment card is not all that different. And please don't argue with me if you are a tarot reader yourself. Okay, we can have differing opinions on this, but I'm not going to argue about it. In political reads, for me, the judgment card often talks about people being held to account for past actions and or inactions. So it can kind of mirror the justice card in some way. Not a huge difference in political reads. Then we started getting our aces, our hell yes cards. We got the Ace of Pentacles, telling us, and again, Pentacles, we humans, Americans especially, have been commodities with those birth certificates that we were assigned, that our parents signed when we were born. And we had the Ace of Swords showing up again. Swords are the communication, words and actions. So it's just a confirmation that, yes, there was a communication going on with this. It wasn't just about straws and doing away with some needless legislation. Okay? I mean, have the different types of straws out there. use them, not use them, but choose for yourself. We don't need legislation about it. That's government overreach and just way too much. Let's um, get rid of the people that got paid to monitor that and shrink that government as we need to do. So communications galore going on. And again, I'll have those links to the 3 tweets that I thought were interesting, humorous, and the third one I thought was rather informative. So you can check those out if you want to. And that's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time and your attention. I would like to just say before I go 2 things, okay? Now, if you don't want to hang around for those, love, light, and everything bright. Number 1 is Sunday we will be doing our monthly meditation. It is going to be on trust yourself. That phrase was used 24 times across the thousands of posts that the 17 team put out. It's important. I know that I see that with people that write me. A lot of times they've got the answer, but they want me to confirm it for them. What do you think? What do you think? Trusting yourself is very important and part of this awakening process and growth process. And I want you to trust yourself. How many of us have gotten out of bad relationships and then realized later, I was ignoring the signals? I didn't trust my judgment. I didn't trust my deductions and logic. And, I can really identify with that. And so there's times that I didn't trust myself, and later on I wished I had. And I love that it's something that more and more of us are learning to do, is trust our discernment, trust our conclusions, and not need to have them validated by others, to have them be very, very real and well accepted by ourselves. So let's meditate on that. If you want to participate in any kind of positive or neutral fashion, you are welcome to be part of that meditation. It will happen at 2 o'clock on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time, which equates out to 7 p.m. London, and you can use a time and date calculator if you need to figure out what that might be for your time zone. Okay, and it'll be a live stream that goes out on YouTube. I don't usually put it on other platforms after, so it usually doesn't have heavy viewership, but that's okay. We only need 20, and we usually get several hundred people participating, and we'll make a difference. And we are going to wish that difference on anyone that would accept it too. The other thing was, last week I did a segment with Larry Martin, an astrologer out of Arizona, and he participants paid a fee to be part of that, but they all agreed to have it be recorded. And Larry has agreed to let me post that a week after we did it, and we did it Friday evening, so it may not show up till Saturday. I will try to have a guide for you in the comments on who had what question. Most of the questions were kind of personal, and that's fine. But we did have a couple that had to do with current events or situations, and that way you can find those and skip ahead to them. It will give you a chance too to see what kind of information people were given for their entrance fee. So when Larry and I do something, or I do it with any creator that charges participants, I want to do it with that understanding that after a reasonable wait, I can make that information public, so you know how it went, what was said. Okay, but content I create will always be available to you at no charge. But I want to kind of increase my awake friends and colleagues and work with more people. And so if they charge for their content, that doesn't necessarily rule out my participation with them. Okay, just so you know. But if they come on mine, we're doing it for free. So that's it for this video. I hope to see you Sunday, and I'll try to be back before then with some information, including that Larry Martin segment I did with him on Friday night. And until the next time, I send you, if you're willing to accept it, love, light, and everything bright. Thank you so much for watching my content. I appreciate you so much. Bye.